Okay, so now in question 3, we are doing the financial maths at this stage. Sipho deposits 10,000 into a savings account, and 4 years later he deposits another 2,000 rand. The money is left in the account for a total of 7 years. The interest rate is 12.5% per annum compounded monthly for the first 2 years, and then 10% compounded quarterly. How much money will he have in the account at the end of the investment period? So let's see. 10,000 deposit, for 4 years later deposit 2,000 rand. The money is left in the account for a total of 7 years, and the interest rate is 12% per annum compounded monthly for the first 2 years, then 10%. Okay, quarterly after that, how much money at the end of the investment period? So if I look at this, there's 10,000, and then after 1, 2, 3, 4 years, there's another 2,000, and then so this the timeline is obviously very important. It's a total of the interest rates for the first 4 years later deposit. The money is left for a total of 7 years, so that's correct, 7 years. And then how much money? Then 10% compounded quarterly. How much money will you have at the in the account at the end of the investment period? Okay, the interest rate is 12.5 per annum compounded monthly for the first 2 years. Let's see, look at that, 12 years, and then it is 10% from then onwards. So from here onwards, it's 10%. So with such a beautiful timeline, it is shocking that you didn't do anything. Nothing. Now, is this an annuity? An annuity means there's equal recurring investments. Is this an annuity? No, it's not an annuity. It is a normal future value of a growth formula, and it's compound growth. So for me, the easiest way to do this is to start with the 10,000 and go into the future until the first change happens. So here is 12% per annum for the first 2 years. And let's see, this student here didn't have a timeline, but that's exactly what she did. Is she took the 10,000, did the 12% for the first 2 years. That's what she did there, and now she gets a future value at this point, and this is now where the interest rate changes. And now we go, so there's an interest rate change after 2 years. So now for 2 more years we use an interest rate of 10%, and it's compounded every quarter, so 4 times a year. And so then she does that. So for another 2 years she's using 10% for 4 years. So look at that, beautiful. And the only thing is, your present value is not the 10,000 anymore. It is the present value was that old number. Now the only recommendation I would say is don't round off your answers. Only round your final answers. So keep as many decimals as possible, but so far so good. Okay, then it's that. Now that's when another change occurs. There's a 2,000 rand extra deposit. So at this point another 2,000 is deposited, and that's why she does this. She adds the 2,000. Now at that year I've got this much money in the bank. So then for the next 1, 2, 3 years there's no additional changes. I even want to say this girl's name because she did so brilliantly. Okay, whoa, except for here. So there is a 10%, so that is correct. Everything is correct, except now she uses 7. Okay, so this amount of money is the amount at this point in time. There's 17,000 what, and that amount only grows for 3 years. Maybe she was a little bit confused because she understood it maybe as how much money will be left in the account at the end of the investment period, and since it's 7 years, maybe she thinks it's from there. But no, the total period was 7. But still, I think if I was marking this question, I would still give you, of the 5 marks, student 2, you will get 4 marks in my opinion. Just that one error there will lose you mark, but very good attempt. Next question. After how many years will an amount of 2,000 Rand be trebled? Trebled means it will become 3 times as much if it was invested at 8%. And I think student 1, you stopped financial maths completely, and you didn't even attempt it. And I mean, this is not even exam conditions. I mean, you should have at least attempted it. There's no attempt made here. That's not acceptable. Especially when practicing for the exam, you must attempt it, because now I'm going to give you an answer and you won't know if that's what you would have tried. Okay, nevertheless, maybe you were doing it under exams conditions. Maybe you tried doing it in 3 hours and you didn't know exactly what to do immediately. But let's see. This student took, I don't know why she took the wrong formula. The moment you have the wrong formula, it's marked wrong. Okay, and I don't know why you said to the power of 4, because n is the time period. Okay, and here they ask you after how many years. N is the very question. Okay, so I'll do this one. After how many years will amount of 2,000 Rand be trebled if the interest is 8%? So it's, and it's compounded quarterly. So trebled means times 3. So my present value is 2,000 Rand. My future value, I use an F, the formula uses an A. My future value is 6,000 Rand, and my interest rate is 8% per annum compounded quarterly. And so my formula becomes 6,000 is equal to 2,000, 1 plus its compound growth. Okay, I is 8%, paid quarterly is divided by 4, and since it's percent, it's 100 to the power of n. Now personally, I don't go and say this is 4 times n. Some people do it like that, but then this thing is solved by just getting 1 plus 8 over 400 to the power of n is equal to 3, because I divide both sides with the 2,000. And so log, to solve, I now use logarithms. So log with this base, what is that? 8 divided by 400 is 0,02. So it's 1,002. No, it's not 002. It's 1,023. Okay, now my calculator on the computer can't do it. Yours probably has a function. You just type that in. I have to say 3 log divided by 1.02 log. And there we go. 55. N is equal to 55.48. 55,48 years. No, because we weren't working in years when we used our formula. It was quarters. Okay, but the question asks after how many years? Okay, and so I have to answer in years. So 55 quarters, do I multiply it with 4? No, I don't multiply it with 4. How is it possible? Quarters are smaller than years, so I can't multiply quarters to get years. I must divide with 4, and that gives me 13.86 years, equal to 13,86 years. And they say after how many years, so I would say it makes sense to say 14 years, after 14 years. You could have left it like that. I think that was the acceptable answer, but technically I think 14 years is the correct answer based on how the question was asked. After how many years? Okay, Plus Lab sets up a redemption or sinking fund to replace computers in 4 years' time. Again, unacceptable that this is not attempted. If the inflation rate is 7.2%, how much will a computer cost in 4 years' time if the current value of the computer is 20,000 Rand? And that's just a normal interest rate. I mean, this is not a level 1 question, definitely, for 3 marks. So let's just see what student 2 maybe did. Oh, wait a minute. Sorry, student 2. I looked at your wrong response. You did this. Well, it asked you how long will 2,000 Rand last to treble. You somehow associated it with question 1, but that wasn't the question. But still, I would have given you some marks. You said N is 12 years, so obviously overall, I don't know what you're doing here. That to the power of N is not not right. I can't think that this answer that you got here is correct, but it should be. So N can definitely not be 12. That's impossible. From this answer, N is not 12. Maybe the number of years after you divide it might be 12. Unlikely, but maybe. Okay, I'm not going to do that, but you saw now how I did it. Okay, in your next question, this is exactly what you did. After 4 years, if something costs 20,000, that is the interest rate. So it's just the normal future value compound growth formula, and that's exactly what you got. And again, I can't think that it's only that little. Let me just confirm. Maybe. Hopefully 7%. Yeah, okay, that seems right. I don't know what the correct answer is. As I said, I don't know the memo answers, but your method is correct. If you punch this in your calculator, that's perfect. This is just normal growth. So if anyone is watching this, you don't know how to do it, that's how you do it. Okay. Next question is, equal quarterly payments are made into the redemption fund starting in 3 months time, and quarterly payments. So it's very important that you only start in 3 months time if you do quarterly payments. Just like if you do monthly payment, you start in 1 month's time. Why 3 months time? Because 3 months is a quarter. If you start immediately, then you have to add 1 to your exponent. I'll explain in just a minute when we look at the formula. In 3 months time, and the last payment is made at the end of 4 years. That's just a normal situation. If I make annuity payments for 1 year, I start in 1 month's time and I make my last payment at the end. And so it sounds confusing, but this is the normal situation. The interest rate is that compounded quarterly. Calculate quarterly payments. The older computer is not sold to replace the new purchase. That usually in a sinking fund we sell the old one, and that gives us less money that we have to make up. But here they say we're not going to do that. We're just going to immediately start saving the total amount that we need. And so student 2, what's the amount we need? That's the amount we need. So that's the future payment. all of this is perfect. There's her percentage divided by 2, as then exponent is 16. Why 16 if it's 4 years? Because it's 16 payments, because there's one made every quarter and there's 4 years, so it's 4 times 4 is 16. I just wanted to mention that let's say we started saving immediately, this should have been a 17 if we started saving immediately, because then instead of 16 payments we would have made one right now as well, and so there would have been 17 payments. And so that, again, I'm not going to check her calculations, but because her method is flawless. Absolutely perfect. Well done, student 2, on your financial maths. Brilliant financial maths. Very proud of you. Excellent. Let's go to question 4.